Hello, I'm taking on a really big topic here, but to be honest, I don't care. I saw a video by Paul Roth, who is great, go check him out, links, that was about Ferguson and Twitter, and it was really good, go watch it. This is not a response as such, but the general conclusion from the video was that we should speak up about things that are wrong before they get out of hand. So, this is something I really care about. It's not a massive issue, it really isn't, but it could be one day, and I'm starting to see a little bit more of, and I just want it to, like, before it gets too bad. Can we just know? So, you know what the topic is, because it'll be in the title, presumably. Today I'm going to talk about biphobia. So my sexuality was discussed vaguely and loosely in a video I will put on my hand here for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, gone. I'm just mentioning that now because inevitably these types of videos lead to questions about what my sexuality or the maker's sexuality is, and so I'm just putting that there so that I don't have to answer it again and again and again in the comments. Now that's done, let's get down to what's important, and let's start with the basic. A bisexual is a person attracted to both men and women. Side note, pansexuality or omnisexuality as it is sometimes known is sexual attraction to someone of any sex or gender. This therefore includes an attraction towards people of non-binary genders or neutral gender. During this video, while I will be using the word bisexual, pretty much everything I say also refers to pansexuals as well. Now let's define biphobia. Biphobia is an aversion to bisexuality and bisexual people as a social group or as an individual. It's discrimination and is often based on negative stereotypes and irrational fear. People of any orientation can be biphobic. Straight people can be biphobic. Gay people can be biphobic. Bi people can be biphobic. It's anyone. While some biphobia stems with and shares traits with homophobia, some of it just is of its own nature, and that's the kind of biphobia I'm going to discuss today. So I'm going to start with something really basic. Bisexuals are not greedy, promiscuous or easy just because they are bisexual. Too many people seem to think that not being of a monosexuality, so being attracted to more than one gender, means that somehow you are more romantically or sexually active. It really doesn't. This idea first of all insinuates that bisexuals are attracted to all of the people all of the time. No, they have preferences. Maybe they're bisexuals who only date people with blonde hair. Maybe they're bisexuals who only date people shorter than them. Bisexuals, just like heterosexuals and homosexuals, are capable of being attracted to only one person and being in a monogamous relationship. Bisexuals also, just like heterosexuals and homosexuals, are capable of liking more than one person, and they're even capable of being in polygamous relationships. So I'm going to break this down and make this really simple and clear for people that still aren't getting it. Being bisexual means you have a range of attractions. It does not mean you have excessive attraction. If someone had no preference and they dated people with blonde hair, with brown hair, with ginger hair, with blue hair, and they didn't care what colour your hair was and they just dated you whatever, you wouldn't call them greedy for that. If someone was attracted to people of all heights, you wouldn't call them easy. Like, they're not easy just because they will have sex with someone who is tall or is short, and it doesn't matter what height they are. That doesn't make them easy. The slut shaming of bisexuals, and it's particularly bad with girls, but it does kind of happen with boys too. But the slut shaming really needs to stop, because one, just because someone's bisexual does not mean they're more sexually active, and two, English, just because someone is more sexually active does not make them any less of a person. Just like being less sexually active doesn't make them any less of a person. Can we just stop tabooing sexual activity? You can do whatever you want. You can do loads, you can do nothing. Doesn't matter. It's up to you. As long as it's all consensual, it's up to you. This brings me on to the strongest reason why, and this is the strongest form of biphobia I see. This brings me on to the first reason why I think a lot of people believe that bisexuality just doesn't exist. Some people both straight and gay, seem to believe that the identity of bisexuality is simply used, mostly by girls, to get the attention of the opposite sex. They also argue that bisexuality is a fake identity because it is just an identity used by gay people who are stepping stoning out of the closet. So let's get this straight. No pun intended. This happens. Both of the things I just discussed happen. People do sometimes use bisexuality as a label that's not really accurate to how they're feeling. I'm not denying this doesn't happen. It does happen, and that's okay. We can accept that happens. But here's the thing. If a gay person, for some period of their life, outwardly identifies as straight because of heteronormative realities or fear of violence or discrimination once they come out, does that make them straight? No, it doesn't. The point is, just because of someone's outward identity and the identity they're telling people they are, doesn't mean it's actually the correct name to fit them. People sometimes lie about their sexuality, or they're not aware of the correct terms, or they're using the terms in a different way to the way you would use the terms. Just because this happens doesn't mean that bisexuality doesn't exist. Just because a situation is true for one person, or some people, or even most of the people, doesn't mean it's true for everyone. Just because some people may use the term bisexuality incorrectly or differently to you, doesn't mean that the term doesn't apply to you in the way you think it does, or doesn't exist at all, and that the sexuality doesn't exist. Another common ignorance is that bisexual people are just undecided, and once they settle down and marry, that will tell you from who they marry whether they're gay or straight. And my first problem with this is they might not necessarily settle down and marry, and they may also be in polygamous relationships. And furthermore, a person's current relationship status does not fully describe their experience of sexuality. They're still bisexual, they still acknowledge that they in the past have had feelings for people of both genders or more than one gender or non-binary genders, and they still acknowledge that they may have those feelings continuing throughout marriage, or if they ever get divorced after marriage. I think that particular misconception exists because it makes bisexuality easier for those of a monosexuality to understand. By taking bisexuality and converting it into a sexuality that they understand much better, a monosexuality, one that they can relate to, it makes it easier for them to accept it and comprehend it. But the problem is you're going to just have to try harder and stretch your mind a bit, because it's not the correct way of viewing bisexuality. I had to go out then to get my eyebrows waxed. I had an appointment, so now there's red marks all around my eyebrows and the lighting's changed. But continuing, I'm going to wrap it up now. The worst part about all of this is not only are these harmful, hateful, biphobic opinions generally common, they're also quite accepted and go unchallenged. Next time you catch yourself or someone else being biphobic in this way, please speak up, call them out. It doesn't have to be angry or attacking or hateful, just say, hey, that's kind of not okay, and you should probably think about what you're saying. It's like racism or homophobia or sexism. If you see it, you don't have to be confrontational or aggressive, but don't let it slide. Okay, I'm done, and I will see you next time for something a little less serious. Goodbye.